Everyone needs a villain in their story to have a victory. So, in this episode, we are talking about the 12th house and what your villain is. Hey, welcome back to the last and final episode of House of Worth. I'm your host, Celia Sasser, and today we are going to be going over the secrets that the 12th house holds. So this has been a long journey. I'm excited to cover this. As I have said in the last episodes, when I started this, it was about the design of the space according to the room in your house. And you can watch all of those episodes. It's a playlist. But in this episode, we are going to be covering the 12th house, which is like your meditation room, your spiritual place. And your sacred space can be a little corner in your home where you have an altar and you light a candle, and it's just the space where you journal. It can be a designed room where you meditate. It could be just a yoga mat outside, wherever you choose to reconnect with yourself. But this episode is going to dive deep. I'm not going to hold back because I think it's important that considering the state of the world, right? Everything that is coming to light, everything that is being exposed, it's time that we start getting really honest about the placements in our chart and how it's really affecting us. So the 12th house is the house of secrets. It's the house of spirituality. It's also the house of dreams, addiction, and avoidance. And everyone needs a villain in their 12th house in order to transform and have a victory, to have something that they are fighting for. And if you don't have that villain, then you become someone that avoids conflict, that finds something to numb out the void. And that's where the addiction comes in. It's a mutable sign, so there's a lot of shapeshifters when it comes to Pisces. So wherever you have, whatever zodiac sign you have in the 12th house, we're going to go into that. But Pisces by nature, they're highly intuitive, they're psychics, they can read people, they fill the space, they're known to be empaths, they have a lot of compassion. And if they are operating from their shadow self, they allow other people to come in and show them how to detach from themselves. That's where the shape shifting comes in. You become the person that you're around because you're absorbing their energy and you start taking it on as your own. The 12th house is, your spiritual self. It's your inner world. And you can be stagnant and stuck in a liminal space when you don't understand your 12th house and you don't understand you're operating from your shadows. So when we think of the cosmic mother as a womb, the universe, we think of the 12th house as being the portal where you move through the darkness and you take your first breath. And then you arrive at the first house, which is your avatar. It's your personality. It's who you came here to play as the player in your game. And through that, there's a lot of trials and tribulations and stuck energy and labor pains for you to reach the other side of knowing who you truly are. And because everything that is happening in the world today and things are coming to light, this illusion is like ripping the Band-Aid off. So we're all feeling this right now because the veil has lifted. Okay, so Neptune is the planet that naturally rules Pisces. And Neptunian energy is that dream state. It's very ethereal. It is also fantasy and fairy tale. And either you're living your life through an illusion of a fairy tale and playing the damsel in distress, the victim, or you are taking back your power in the darkness so that you can have victory over your life. And you might be wondering, in the state of what is happening in this timeline, what can I do? Like, you might feel helpless. And I forewarn you, if you're going down the rabbit hole and if you don't know how to cleanse your energy and you don't know how to protect your energy, do not go down the rabbit hole, because what you will see, you are not prepared for. That's how deep this runs. This is about secrets, secret societies, secrets, period, where you are hiding. So this last episode is so important in this series of the House of Worth. Yes, it can be the time where you go inwards and you journal and you meditate and you nurture yourself and you're out in nature and you really pour into your spirit. But the subconscious mind has a paradigm, and the paradigm is built up by your shadow self. There are parts of you that you detached from because you told yourself it wasn't safe to be you. So when you're in the 12th house, it is like you are battling the villain so that you can finally come out feeling complete and whole and prepared to be the warrior in your own game. But when you don't understand your shadows, you attract a totally different story from the illusion or the dream state or the fairy tale that you are wanting to manifest in this reality. And speaking of realities, what I want you to get is we all have our own reality, meaning we all have our own state of mind, our own perception, and we look at our lives through that lens. So that lens could be shadow of pain, shame, guilt, trauma, addiction. And we all know that addiction comes from pain. Something happened to you that made you want to just check out of this reality. So the 12th house is that liminal space of either you're going to connect with yourself in this lifetime, or you are just going to take a back seat and you're going to stick your head in the sand and you're going to be delulu and you're going to reach for your vice that fills the void. And we can no longer do this. So you might be asking yourself, like, well, what am I supposed to do, Celia? I have no control over the state of the world. And you're right, you don't. But what you do have control over is your spirit and how you are going to move in this world to create a different reality. And it starts with your perception, what you are perceiving, and the reality that you built from your wounds, from childhood, from what you picked up from your parents, your lineage, and what was programmed to you in this reality. See, we have the lovely fairy tale. And I'm going to go through the Maiden Mother Crone, because through this process of the work that I do, I realize that I am speaking to women like me that have gone through the process. And what I have realized is that at 40, you start preparing to be the warrior. Okay. That is when you start taking care of yourself. You're realizing that the reality you built, you don't fit into it. So you're in your warrior stage and you're learning how to put your armor on. And then when you get into your 50s, you realize that you can't go backwards. The only way through it is to go under it. And that means you go into the underworld of your shadows, your secrets, your subconscious beliefs, the paradigm that has built your reality. And then when you're in your 60s, you start to integrate everything that you have healed, and you start shining and becoming the person you've always been. And it's a process. And every culture has a name for this. It could be the changing woman. It could be the triple goddess. It can be just the state of transformation and metamorphosis. But we have a Saturn return in our lives. And when we reach the Saturn return, whether we are 28 to 30, 58 to 60, or 88 to 90, there is a pivotal time in that 3 years that we stretch and we grow and we are so fucking uncomfortable. And this dark night of the soul, it rips things apart. And during this time of recording, we have Uranus that has moved into Gemini, which Uranus is like that lightning bolt of change, the tower moment. And you can no longer be your old self. So even though the changing woman goes through cycles, because life is cyclical, we are experiencing this on the macrocosm. And I talk about the sacred mother, the great mother, the cosmic mother, and the universe being a womb and giving birth to a new humanity. If you want to find out more about that and then the stages that you go through, check out my blog over at celiasasser.com. And if you are in this liminal space and you just can't see, you're at the precipice of the threshold of change. I've written She's Magic, the Enchanted Game of Life. And I recorded the process of this rebirth that I was going through and the tools and exercises that I used. And I give you examples of what it felt for me, the spirit changing, the spirit guiding. And then you have to have a practice of reconnecting with self. And that is with journaling. And I created a journal just for that reason. And it talks about astrology. It talks about the moon phases. It talks about spiritual tools that you can use in this process, along with giving you some secret incantations of empowerment. And I recommend using both of those hand in hand. I've created a mini course called Discover Your Avatar, where you can remember your big three and your Venus placement so you can understand that you are becoming a high value woman when you go through this transition. You start remembering where you fucking gave your power away. And on top of that, I've created for 2026 the House of Worth Math, where I go through these stages and what you are meeting with and read your chart and give you a lens of clarity to why you're going through this massive transition. It is not a one-on-one because my time is valuable right now as I am in a different era in my life. It comes in a recorded form with all of the materials that you need to better understand. I speak to you like I'm speaking to you now, and I break it down for you so you can go back to it and hear the messages and understand what you're going through at that pivotal moment. So I know that my energy might feel a little intense right now, but I'm an Aquarius rising, and I have had a stellium in my first house for a while, and it is breaking some shit apart. And Uranus is moving into my house of communication, my self-expression, and where I've been holding myself back in order to make other people feel comfortable, and I'm not doing it anymore. I have gone through the healing. I have taken accountability for my actions through the process of me healing. I have apologized to the people that I have hurt. I have owned up to where I was operating from a place of low self-worth. I have communicated to the people closest to me that I'm not going to give my power away, and this is where I stand, and either you're coming with me or you're not. I'm not a doormat anymore. I'm not people pleasing anymore. I know my worth. I know my value. I know why I came here, what my mission is. And within that is the power and the strength. And that's what the 12th house does for you. The 12th house takes you through the darkness, the dark night of the soul, the secrets, the subconscious mind, the beliefs that have been running your reality. And the only way that you can bring this into the light is to go in the depths. So in my journey, when I began, I will tell you that a goddess will appear. If you are doing the inner work and you are aware, you've had this spiritual awakening, you are aware of your surrounding, there will be a goddess that will appear. And that goddess for me, if you're new here, you probably haven't heard this story, but the goddess was the goddess Ishtar. Ishtar represents the 8-pointed star. She represents Venus. She represents the Venusian woman who's given her power away for love, who has lost herself, who has no authorship over her life. And when she appears, it's because she wants you to go into the underworld to find your soul again and where you've been giving your power away so that you can come out of that as the warrior who has integrated and who remembers who the fuck she is. And that's where I'm at. And I'm not going to apologize for it anymore. I'm not going to be the doormat. I'm not going to be the person that gets pushed down or blamed or constantly reminded about where they fucked up, because I've healed from that. I've come from that. I've made peace with my woundedness that operated from a place of not knowing who she was. So the first thing when we go into the depths of the 12th house is you need to acknowledge where you are avoiding the hard shit in your life. There is no more living in the fantasy. There is no more checking out from reality. This is the time that you take your power back. You aren't the damsel in distress like the patriarch would like you to believe, living in a fairy tale land, waiting for your Prince Charming to come and save you and rescue you. See, we have all of these patriarchal systems that have been put into place to make us believe we need saving. And when I talk about the cosmic mother, okay, this is an energy. She is the masculine, she is the feminine. She is herself. She is complete and whole, and she doesn't need saving. She is in everything and everywhere. She is the ether. She is the space between you and I. She's the liminal space that pulls you in to the womb to heal, to go through the contractions before you birth a new self. And this patriarchal system wants to believe that women are weak and meek. We have the womb. We are the portal. We are co-creating with the universe, literally. And you've heard me say this before, that you are literally made of stardust. So if you don't think that you are connected to the cosmos and what is going on in the transits, you have totally forgot who you are. And I feel like this moment with all of these transits and all of this shit that is just bubbling up and overflowing like a massive volcano of all of this corruption that has been going on in the world is like a supernova. It's a star that has just exploded. And so this is the time. This is the time for you to take your power back and find your fucking worth. Because if you don't believe in your value and you're still outsourcing it, whether it's through religion, chasing fame, chasing money, chasing achievement, chasing acknowledgement, you are still in the void. When you are in tune with your presence and you fucking know who you are, none of that shit matters. It will come, you will receive when the universe says it's time, and you surrender to all the bullshit. So the first thing you need to know about the 12th house is that you need a villain. I don't care who the villain is that's going to get you off your ass and want you to do something differently. And I know, like, it might be your mother. It might be your father. It might be your boss. It might be your spouse. It might be your sister. It might be a friend. It might be you pick. It might be the government. Whoever your villain is. You choose your villain. I'm going to go through, according to the rising sign, who your villain is in characteristics. But you choose your villain so you can get off your ass and stop playing the victim. And if it means that in my life, if I have to be the villain for somebody's growth, I'll be the villain. If you want to make me the villain, if you're watching this and you need a villain, you can make me your villain. That's quite all right, because I'm just here because I want you to grow. I want you to get out of the stagnant energy, the liminal space that tells you that you are not enough because of all of the secrets that you are holding in your house. The 12th house is very powerful. It is where your imagination lies, okay? And the reason why I'm having this discussion with you, because Neptune will be moving into Aries. And what is Neptune? Neptune is the dreamer, your imagination. And when it moves into Aries, it's about pioneering in something new that represents you. Whatever creation you have, whatever download you received, whatever, how you want to move in the world, what brings you joy. And stop operating from this belief of being broken and needing to be saved. Because we all know that the universe lives within. God is within, okay? And if you are playing the victim, then you are saying that God is not within. And you've got to search for it without. Or you have to suffer in your pain and you got to fill the void of addiction. Whether it's shopping, eating, drinking, whatever your preference is, sex, whatever the preference is, you're going to go to it because it's easier to tune it out than to deal with it. But the only way that you can make massive change in your life is to go through the darkness. Just think of the 12th house as the dark portal, the fallopian tube, your birth canal that you're going through. You're in the darkness, you're in the unknown. You don't know what's on the other side. You don't know where you're headed, but you only can operate from a feeling, an internal pull, your spirit guiding you for something new, something different, something expansive, something that comes from your childhood essence, this Neptunian imagination, playful self. And that's where these transits are going to push you through to find out where you are giving, literally giving your power away. So I will go through the houses and I will give you some examples of what that looks like, even when it comes to me as an Aquarius rising and having Capricorn in the 12th house. And in this episode, I hope to awaken you to your truth, where you're giving your power away, who your villain is. Because ultimately, if you need an external villain, pick an external villain. But the true villain that you have is the villain within. The villain that took your innocence and created this paradigm, this belief system that you've been building your reality in the belief that it truly was all you could have, or all you deserved, because of where you came from, because what you experienced, because what people did to you. And now you're going to take your power back. And that's what I'm hoping for you in this episode. So let's just get into every house every 12th house according to your rising sign. Okay, so like always, I start with Aries. So we're going to go into each rising sign. And if you skipped to your rising sign and you didn't listen to the introduction, the pretense, I would recommend that you do, because it's going to make sense to why we're even talking about this. Don't take the easy button all the time and just get what you need and leave. And if this resonates with you, leave me a comment and let me know where you are, who your villain is, if you resonate with it. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because the only way that I can continue bringing these videos to you is to know that people are interested, that you're interested in this, that you want to find out more. And if you don't hit the subscribe button, then it's telling the algorithm that nobody really can relate to what I'm talking about. So it's important that you hit that subscribe button and you hit the thumbs up and you leave me a comment. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just giving back, because I'm exchanging my energy with you, so you could do your part and exchange a little bit of yours. So let's get into Aries rising. So if you're an Aries rising, you are going to have Pisces in the 12th house. So your villain is escapism or martyrdom. You are losing yourself to other people's pain, because remember, the Piscean energy is an empath. And if you don't know how to protect your energy, this is so important because of everything that's going on in the world today. If you don't know how to protect your energy, you always want to come and save somebody. You're always letting people in, and then you take it on as your own because you don't know the difference from that person's pain and your own pain. And then you're avoiding reality through fantasy, addiction, or spiritual bypassing. So you're like, I'm fine, I'm good. Or you have this illusion that somebody's coming to save you, right? You are thinking that the fairy tale is true. Prince Charming is coming. Somebody is coming to save me, because the book said that somebody's coming to save me, and I am waiting for someone to save me. And then you don't go in and you don't heal, and you just say, I'm fine. Or you're meditating, right? And you're like, okay, check, did that. Journal, check, did that. Did some yoga, check, did that. Going through the emotions, spiritual bypassing. You haven't done any inner work. You haven't peeled back anything. And you have to remember that it's a mutable sign. So you're going to shape shift around people. So you need to know what is your energy and what is their energy. And then you might believe that suffering is a virtue. If you're in pain and, it's like you found your villain and now you're avoiding life and you are finding your vice to escape. And it's because of everything that I've gone through, and you're looking at it from a virtuous eye, and that's keeping you stuck. And remember the maiden mother crone. If you are in your maiden era, you are looking for Prince Charming to come. And if you don't heal this shit, what you're going to find is somebody that is trauma bonding with you. They are exactly like you, and they are looking for healing through you as you are looking through healing with them, and nobody is healing. And so then you maybe have fun getting drunk and doing drugs together. Sorry to be blunt, but that's what happens with avoidance. Moving on. If you are a Taurus rising, then you would have Aries in the 12th house. And your villain would be suppressed anger. And so this is rage that you were never allowed to express. So you self-sabotage when you feel controlled, and you fear asserting your needs, and you have explosive reaction to it later. So in your secret world, you have all of these ideas in the 12th house with Aries that you want to bring something in, you want to pioneer in something new, but you have so much anger around you for things that have happened behind closed doors. So you fear, you hold back because maybe even as a child, you were a little explosive and you got reprimanded for it. And so it's not safe. But then you wait and you explode, and it comes from reaction, and nothing happens for the betterment of you and this vision and what you want to bring in, because Aries energy is very entrepreneurial. And in the 12th house, it is saying, I have all of these things that I want to bring forth. I want to show the true version of myself. I want to express myself. I want people to see me for who I truly am, because Aries naturally rules the first house of your personality, your avatar, your first impression. And because it wasn't safe, you push that down. And so behind the scenes, you're angry and you're blaming everybody and anybody in your life for why you can't step in to your fire, to your truth, to your worth, to this person that is the player, the actual player in their game. So now let's just go into Gemini rising. If you're a Gemini rising, that means that you have Taurus in the 12th house. So your villain is fear of instability. How many of us know what that feels like? If you grew up in a home where there was a lot of instability, there was a lot of scarcity, there was struggle, there was, like trying to play catch up, there was secrets in the house about instability. And so you are living through that paradigm. And so you're trying to control your environment. You're chasing the bag, so to speak. It's like, let me make sure that I have my own, okay? But because of the fear behind there and the shadow behind there, you are focusing on the instability and creating more of it. So you have to heal wherever you pick that up, whether it is coming from heartbreak or something that you were passionate about and it was taken away. It's like tapping into your sensual side, right? Because if you have a Taurus in the 12th house, your secret is that you're such a sensual person and you like the finer things in life. And maybe there's shame in that, especially if you grew up in a house where there was a lot of struggle and scarcity. And then you stay stuck because it's safe. So you're stuck in that liminal space. And because it feels comfortable, you tell yourself it's good enough. And you are confusing comfort with worth. And your self-worth is about facing the fear of failure, failing, and doing it anyway. And if you're keeping yourself back because it feels comfortable, because it makes you feel safe, that is an illusion. That is not the truth. That is something you are holding on to because you believe that if you can hold that container and stay in that container, nobody can touch you. No, you can't get hurt. Meanwhile, life is happening around you. And so this is your time to stop having your roots stuck so deep into the earth and let your wings fly, because Neptune is in the dream state in the clouds. And remember that Taurus naturally rules the second house, which is the house of the material world. So what do you value? But it's also about your self-worth. If you do not believe that you have value, then the people around you are going to treat you like you have none. Let that sink in. So it's time for you to trust that what you are passionate about is your spirit speaking to expand, because the 12th house is your spiritual self. So quit holding yourself back because you want to feel security, because there is no such thing as certainty. Certainty is a lie. If you don't know, you can look around and see the state of our world right now. Nothing is certain. Everything was a freaking illusion. That's that Neptune energy of the Pisces. Every single thing has been illusion in illusion. You don't know what is true anymore, what is real anymore. So the only thing you can do is bet on yourself. And that's what this is about, betting on yourself. Because when Neptune moves in to Aries, game's over. You have no choice. You got to get uncomfortable. All right, so let's move on to Cancer rising. If you are Cancer rising, then you have Gemini in the 12th house. And your villain is mental looping. You are in overthinking with your feelings instead of feeling them. So you're in your head all of the time. You are talking around the truth, and you're nervous, anxiety disguised as being busy. So Geminis have the reputation of being a butterfly, right? They sample things. They just keep taking in more knowledge, They read a little bit of this book, that book, this book. They try this, creative thing, and then they try that. They have to have variety in their life. And so, because it's hard for you to stick to something, to complete it, to bring it through, you talk yourself out of everything that you want. And words are very powerful to you. So maybe you have a book inside of you, but when it comes to sitting down, you get bored. You need the variety. You start telling yourself, who wants to read this? And this mental looping causes anguish. And so Gemini is naturally ruled by Mercury. And so Mercury's the messenger. So maybe it wasn't safe for you to speak your truth, because this is the house of secrets. So there's a shadow side of yourself that maybe you don't think you're good enough to, commit yourself to something that's important. And you tell yourself the story that it's okay to sample. It's okay if I give up. It's okay if I try this or that, and nothing comes of it, because that keeps you safe, because it keeps you in the loop. And when you're stuck in your head, you can't take the action. And what you need to know is that when Neptune moves into Aries, game's over. You're going to have to put your voice forward. Speak truth into existence. Stand for something. Don't hide it. Don't play safe. Don't be the secret hiding. Don't stay in the liminal space. You are birthing into somebody new. And you have Uranus moving into your 12th house. So when Uranus is in the 12th house of Gemini, when it moves into Gemini, it is like a lightning bolt. It is like a tower moment, a dark night of the soul. So if you are holding yourself back, not to scare, I'm not fear mongering here, but something will happen to shake your secret security inside. Shake it up a little bit so you can get out of your comfort zone. Now, if you are a Leo rising, then that means you have Cancer in the 12th house. And your villain is emotional dependency, carrying family wounds that aren't yours, fear of abandonment, and that is driving your choices, and performing strength while hiding vulnerability. So if you have Cancer in this house, it's like everything is led by your emotions. to the point where you can't get out of your way. And you are so stuck in the loop of believing that your foundation, your home life, everything that you experience as a child is you. And so in this liminal space, it's to heal those shadows because you are fully in charge of the reality that you are creating. And so if this reality is saying, I don't have any value, I don't have any worth, I can't, be my creative self, I can't express myself, it's not safe for me to tap into my childlike essence because of these family wounds, you are holding yourself back from the greatest expression of you, because your spirit always seeks expansion. And the 12th house is the house of your spirit. It is also the house of secrets and avoidance, drug addiction. So you could be addicted to wanting to be seen, needing to be recognized. And let me just tell you that as a Leo rising, when the nodes change, we're going to have the south node in Leo and we're going to have the north node in Aquarius. And Leo is going to have to give up that story about needing to be recognized before they come out blazing and start speaking their truth and expressing themselves. So as a Cancer 12th house, you need to tap into those emotions and figure out where you're giving your power away, because when a Cancer is wounded, they go into their shell and they avoid the hardest conversations because it feels safe just to be in that liminal space. And these transits that we're going through right now is not going to allow it. And you feel this uncomfortable feeling right now because Jupiter is in Cancer and Jupiter is expansive energy and Jupiter wants you to get out of your comfort zone. And I know you feel it. So the time is now. Stop playing so freaking small. Now, if you are a Virgo rising, then this means that you have Leo in your 12th house. And your villain is your hidden ego wounds, needing validation but feeling ashamed of wanting it, fear of being seen, and self-erasure, creative power blocked by perfectionism. So you live in this illusion that everything needs to be perfect, including the nurturing that you needed to feel validated. And when you didn't receive it, you took it on as there was something wrong with you. And Leos love to be the star of the show. They want to shine. They want people to see them. And so because you were operating from this place of unworthiness, when you got out of your comfort zone to be seen, it was secret because there was some shame around it, because something told you it wasn't safe because you didn't get what you needed as a child. And here's something else you'll want to look at. Even though you have Leo in your 12th house, and it's the shadows behind it and the secrecy is taking your power. You might be finding yourself right now and wanting to shine your light, but you have Pisces in the 12th house. I mean, you have Pisces in the 7th house. And the 7th house is the house of your relationships. So you might have unrealistic expectations in a relationship. You might live in the fairy tale that the person you're with is going to step up and be the person you want them to be because you have the expectation, because of what you see, because of what you feel. And the truth of the matter is you have to make a decision of what you really want and realize why you're there, where you are, the relationship you're in, and what you're going through. Because if you are your unwounded, you are your unhealed version, your Leo who wants to shine, your Leo who wants to be seen, your Leo who wants the finer things in life, the Leo who wants to be pampered in your 12th house. And you push that down in secret because you thought it wasn't safe or you weren't worthy to have those things. And then you're pushing that onto a person in your relationship, right? Another thing I want you to keep in mind as someone that has Pisces in the 7th house is that you're a shapeshifter. You're a mutable sign, especially in your maiden era when you don't know yourself. So if this person, let's say they enjoy football, and you don't, you could care less about football, but because they enjoy it, you become this person that's really interested in football. Let's say the person that you are interested in is, they come from like a extreme sport culture, and now all of a sudden you're the adventurous extreme sport person, but it's never been on your radar. The shape shifting causes you to lose yourself in a relationship. So you attract somebody who is thinking that you are somebody that you're not. And the real person that you are, I mean, let's just face it, if you have a Leo 12th house, you like the finer things of life. You got expensive taste. You're bougie, okay? And so this is not the person you portrayed, because when you were in your maiden stage, you shape shifted into the person. So you got to be very careful where you have your Pisces according to your rising sign, because the 12th house is the house of illusions. So you want to look and see where you have Pisces, because it's going to affect you. Another thing I want you to keep in mind is that we are going to have Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries. And so you have Aries in your 8th house. And this is about the reliance on other people's resources. It is also the house of transformation and shadows and going into the depths of the self that is the not self, so that you can rise above it and stop. You no longer want to be the victim. But the only way that you can get through this is you do need a villain. All right. And so you choose who your villain is. It could be an external thing, but ultimately the villain is this belief system, this pain, this shadow, this trauma that you're holding on to, where you believe that your safety was taken away and you've held it as secrets. It's been the leading force in your life, and everything that you do is coming from a place of fear and trying to control your environment, so your environment doesn't repeat what you experienced. And so these transits that are moving in are going to really shake that up for you. And so you might feel like this is a time where you want to retreat and pour into yourself, because Leo is going through a lot. We're in eclipse season. We just had a Leo full moon. We are going to have a Leo solar eclipse. So this is your inner world that is going to be shook up. So take the time that you need to heal this shit so that you can come out blaze running. Stepping into your power from a place of peace and being centered and feeling fully integrated and whole. Moving on, we are going to talk about Libra rising. If you are a Libra rising, you have Virgo in your 12th house, which means you have hyper self-criticism. And your villain is, it makes you feel like you're never good enough. Over fixing yourself to earn love, losing intuition to logic and control. So it's like, what can I do externally? How can I make myself beautiful? How can I be loved? Because in Virgo, in the 12th house is about perfectionism. And so you try to control your environment through being perfect, the perfect child. You might have been that growing up, and you're exhausted and you don't want to be that anymore. And you're trying to tap into your Venusian energy. So where is it that you gave up? Where are you criticizing yourself constantly that you're not beautiful enough? You're not, you don't have anything going on for you, whatever the story. I'm not thin enough. I'm, too old, whatever the story, because that Venusian energy is about loving yourself as you are. And Virgo is like, okay, Virgo is the the earth angel, if you will. Virgo represents purity, being naive. So, like, where are you still waiting for Prince Charming to come along? The damsel in distress, because the Libra rising taps into people pleasing when you're out of balance. So, you give yourself away in relationship because that makes you feel like you're in control. But really, you're not getting what you want because you have this illusion of what perfection looks like, and you're telling yourself, I'm not enough. I don't meet those standards. So guess what? You're attracting somebody into your life that doesn't meet those standards. And so then you're overdoing, over pleasing, over loving in order. And so wherever you have Pisces in your house, you're going to feel this with this Neptunian energy. And the state of the world that we're in right now, the veil is being lifted. So on the macrocosm, we are feeling this energy of the Band-Aid being ripped off. Where are you playing small? Where are you stuck in the liminal space? Where are you keeping yourself from fully creating your reality? Because the 12th house is about your imagination, your dreams. Where are you holding yourself back and not fully playing out who you are? And you could have this feeling that, I don't want to be criticized. So it's just better to overgive and just focus on my beauty, my looks, all the superficial stuff, because I don't want to get in here. And it's time for you to go into the shadow, go into the underworld, and heal this shit that is destroying your life. Because there's no such thing as perfect. So do the damn thing anyway. All right, let's just move on to Scorpio rising. So if that is your placement, then you would have Libra in the 12th house. And your villain is people pleasing in disguise, giving power away to avoid conflict, secret resentment in relationships, and fear of choosing yourself. So the 12th house is the house of secrets. And having Libra there, you have a very Venusian essence about you. Your placement is ruled by Venus. And you might have experienced some unwanted attention and some trauma around that. You might have also experienced not feeling seen, so you overgave, you were the people pleaser, you lost yourself. And then the story you tell yourself is that you have to be the nice girl. You have to be the one that is accepted by society for being sweet and not rough or raw around the edges. But you're holding your Scorpio rising captive because your Scorpio rising is raw, edgy, unapologetic. And so the healing that you need to do, and stop avoiding it, because the avoidance of it becomes the addiction, is to step into your Venusian energy with your scorpionic essence. Now, you would have Pisces in your 5th house. And so the Pisces in your 5th house, it is about your childlike essence, passion, other children, and your self-expression. So something could have happened to you as a child that has shut down your self-expression. And this self-expression of you is this very Venusian energy where it might be a little sensual, because Venusian energy with Venus ruling, it's more of that sensual side of you, of knowing your worth and your value through how you present yourself. But if somewhere in your childhood your innocence was taken away, then you've shut that part of yourself down. So Neptune is moving into Aries along with Saturn. Saturn is that father figure energy. This is going to call you to heal that once and for all. Whatever pain you have with the father figure, any delusion, any illusion, any belief that you have that built your paradigm that you were unworthy is going to come forth, so you can get yourself out of the liminal space, because the liminal space is holding you captive. It's like staying in the womb, right? Not pushing through the embryonic sac so that you can take your first breath. And we all know that with giving birth, there's labor pains, there's contractions, and you have to be willing to go through them in order to get out and be your more scorpionic self. So this is what you're going through right now. And you need to find your villain that's going to push you out of it. So if there's a part of you that says it's not right to show that anger side of you, or that vindictive side of you, or the one that is not going to be the doormat, and you're holding on to the princess illusion of being the kind, soft woman, you're going to be pulled out of your comfort zone in order for you to heal that once and for all. Let's just move on to Sag rising. If you're a Sagittarius rising, well, lucky you, you have Scorpio in your 12th house. Scorpio is a tough spot to be in the 12th house, because here's your villain. It's the obsession and fear of betrayal. It's emotional intensity you pretend not to feel. Control issues buried under optimism, and avoiding intimacy while craving transformation. So you've put yourself in a holding cell. Now, usually with the Scorpio 12th house, there is some abuse in the home, whether it's neglect, emotional, having unemotional parents. There could have been religious abuse in with having a Scorpio 12th house. There could have been some SA as well, because Scorpio rules the house of Schmecks. But this is all about transformation. So if you're holding yourself captive and you are not expressing yourself and you don't know how to open up intimately, you're missing out on life. You could be having the best version of a relationship that you truly want to experience, but because of the fear and holding, like, if you made yourself the most vulnerable, if somebody saw who you truly were, maybe you wouldn't be lovable anymore. So you keep yourself in the liminal space, in that container that feels safe, that puts the wall up between you and the people that you love. So you're uncomfortable around vulnerable conversations. You stay in the superficial level. But that's not your Sagittarius rising. Your Sagittarius rising is very passion driven, deep thoughts, finding the truth, wanting to have those deeper conversations. But your shadows and your wounds in your Scorpio 12th house is saying it's not safe to show that side of myself. So I'll keep everything at a superficial level. You might find it easy to have conversations with coworkers or with strangers on the street. But when it comes to the people that are really going to know you, if there is any shame or guilt or any kind of trauma that is saying, I'm not worth the investment, I am not good enough, then you are afraid that if you expose yourself, then you're going to be betrayed. So you keep yourself in a container of safety that is only an illusion. You might have had addiction problems. You might have escaped through alcohol because life just felt too uncomfortable. Could be sex addiction, porn addiction, shopping addiction, eating addiction, alcohol, drugs, whatever. That's the house of avoidance. So you're going to fill your void with something. Sugar addiction. Okay. That's what the 12th house does. It tries to hold you in the womb out of fear, but you cannot stay in the liminal space because your spirit will die. It will feel like depression because your spirit needs to expand. And because Pluto is the natural ruler of Scorpio, Pluto seeks to transform, to go through evolutions, to go through deaths and rebirths. So you have to get comfortable with the old you dying in order for the new you to begin. So Pisces, having Neptune and Saturn moving into Pisces, or is in Pisces, is going to be moving into Aries, is going to shake that up for you. So this is a time for you to start opening up, especially to the people that you really care about. Don't keep them closed off. You have missed out on a lot of valuable relationships because you are hiding. All right, moving along to Capricorn rising. This means you have Sagittarius in your 12th house. So your villain is blind faith or false meaning, believing you must rise above, pain instead of processing it, spiritual superiority, escaping responsibility through philosophy. So if you have this Sagittarius 12th house, then you are constantly seeking the truth, but then your inner world doesn't want to relate to the truth. You might have that superiority complex because you want to be the great philosopher. So everything is so airy fairy up in the air, nothing is grounding. It keeps you stuck in the liminal space. You might be very reactive in the way that you cut people that hurt you. You say hurtful things, and that keeps you contained in so that you can stay on your throne, so to speak. But you have to learn to rise above it, okay, by processing the pain. You're holding yourself in a timeline that says the truth is too hard. And it being that what we are going through right now with everything that's being exposed, it's not the time. It's not the time to do the spiritual bypassing. We are seeing the religious constructs, how they've been made up, how we've been manipulated. And there might be a lot of scars there. You might have been raised in a religious home. And so you're really going through it right now because it's like, what I thought was real isn't real. And this is crazy. This is wild, this false illusion, because Neptune rules the 12th house. And Neptune is all about the illusions, the avoidance, the addictions, what you do to escape from reality. But the truth is that you can't stay in that liminal space anymore. The universe is asking you to be brave enough and bold enough to push yourself out of the womb and to take the first breath. And that's what this Aries, Neptune moving into Aries, is going to push you to do, because Aries energy is about pioneering something new in. It is about your first impression, how you assert yourself in the life. It's your avatar. Your avatar is the Capricorn, you know, the traditionalist, the stoic, the disciplinary. Um, but you are hiding behind the pretense of the Sagittarius, that tradition, religion, your philosophical thinking on life is, you know, how you move in the world. And if people don't relate to how you are, you're like always trying to force your opinion and your beliefs on other people. And that doesn't work anymore. So having this Sagittarius 12th house also, you enjoy travel, you enjoy culture, you enjoy, you know, experiencing different things in life. But your Capricorn has to have a plan and keeps you restricted. So you got to allow to give yourself a little bit more of that freedom, the free spirit that you truly are, and stop constricting yourself. So this is what's going to come through for you, because it's really important. This timeline that we are in right now, we have to show up as our authentic self. We can no longer hide behind our pain, our guilt, our shame, our shadows. We can't be stuck in the containment of the liminal space, because with every birth, new rebirth, there are labor pains, there are contractions. So don't spiritual bypass everything and say everything is okay because you don't want to feel the contractions. Breathe through them so that you can be more of who you are. Now let's move on to Aquarius rising, my favorite place because I happen to be one. And if you have an Aquarius rising, you have a Capricorn 12th house. Your villain is internalized authority, harsh inner judge, fear of failure or collapse, and believing rest equals weakness. So, in the liminal space is when you are supposed to nurture yourself and take care of yourself. But when you have that Capricorn ruling your 12th house, it is the stern, disciplinary father figure that says that you need to achieve, you need to do. But if you are operating from a wound of low self worth in the material world, because you would have Pisces in the second house, and that's the house of self worth and also who you are in the material world, there's this contradiction. And being an Aquarius rising, they get the bad rap of being eccentric or weird or how they view the world. It's like people don't understand them. And so you have to be comfortable with your weirdness. You have to learn the discipline to follow through, because the modern day ruler for Aquarius is Uranus, and Uranus is moving into Gemini, and you would have Gemini in the fifth house of your self expression. But Saturn is the ruler, the co ruler of Aquarius. So that Saturnian energy is like always trying to achieve and be the responsible one. And so you might have grown up in a house where you had to be the responsible one at a very young age. And so because of this, you hold the burden on your shoulders. You might have came from a home where the parent, the father figure, was missing. There might be some secrets around the father figure. And for me, I learned that my father was not my biological father, and there was a lot of secrecy there. And because of the secrecy and feeling my Aquarius energy of not feeling like I fit in, and then having Pisces, this Neptunian energy and this empathic person that I was, in psychic energy, feeling like, people don't understand me, I learned that I didn't have any worth. And so I operated from that belief system. And so I, through the inner work and through moving through this, I have been embracing my weirdness, embracing the way that I think and what I talk about, and embracing the fact that not every family has to have both parents in order for you to be an outstanding citizen. Letting go of the traditions, these belief systems that aren't true, and that told me that I because I came from this weird upbringing, that that I was missing something. And so making peace with that, and then stepping into my worth and healing this. Now, one thing you'll have to remember is that when you go through your Saturn returns will shift that. But we also have Neptune and Saturn moving into a different zodiac, moving into Aries. We have uh, Uranus moving into Gemini. And, there's all these stelliums happening. There's a lot happening in the world right now. And it is time for you to really embrace and forgive yourself for anything that you've done out of shadow, shame, guilt, that held you onto this belief that you always had to be the responsible one. Because when you operate from the belief that you have to be the stability, you have to take on, bear the load, you never give yourself freedom. And for Aquarius, freedom is the most important thing. And so when you tie your value through responsibility, you're putting shackles on. And so anytime you have the ability to have that sense of freedom and self-expression, you tell yourself you got to make money out of it. It can't just be for fun. And it keeps you exhausted and in this loop of always achieving and becoming the workaholic, and thinking that when you rest, that that's being lazy, that that's not being productive in the world. All right, last but not least, we are heading into Pisces rising. Okay, so if you have Pisces rising, that means you have Aquarius in the 12th house. And your villain is emotional detachment, intellectualizing feelings, hiding behind uniqueness, fear of belonging while craving it. Okay, so as an Aquarius rising, I totally get this because we come off as we don't want to be, we're nonconformists, we don't want to fit into any group. But then we do need that sense of community because Aquarius rules the social house, which is the 11th house. So by us telling us that it's a sense of weakness, then we feel alone and lost. So as a Pisces rising, you are going through it because we have Saturn and Neptune moving out of Pisces into Aries. You're being asked for once and for all to stop avoiding life. Okay, stop avoiding, stop finding something to fill your void, your addictive patterns, stop staying in the dream state, the fairy tale state, the fantasy land, and waiting for somebody to come save you. Understand that your compassion is your gift because you can read people and you have discernment. Don't give your discernment away. Don't allow people to invade into your space. Keep your aura clean. You're in this ethereal state and you love everybody and you see the good in everybody, but then you open yourself up to spiritual attacks. So it's very important that you keep your auric field clean because you read people and you have to remember that what you're reading is not about you, it's about them. So with an Aquarius in your 12th house, this is the eccentric side of you. This is the nonconformist. This is the one that is willing to be innovative and take all of those downloads that you receive as a Pisces rising and really create something with it and stop half-assing it because you don't think that you have value or nobody wants what you have or nobody's going to see the beauty in it. And oh, but you see it in your head and I don't know how to bring it down to earth, how to plant it, how to make it land. And so this energy, this shift that you're going to be experiencing is to get you out of that. Get yourself where you are feeling the contractions and you are ready to push yourself through the labor pains and give birth to the new you. Can't stay in the liminal space anymore. It's not going to allow you. The universe is not. We are going through a massive rebirth right now. The cosmic mother is pushing things out. She's exposing things. So you have to be your authentic self. Truth always wins. If you are avoiding it because you have fear, then everyone's going to see through it because the veil is lifted. Everything in the darkness is coming to light. And the 12th house represents the darkness that's coming to the light. All this Neptunian illusion, trickster behavior, and addictions and rituals and all of the shit is coming to a close. So there has to be a new human born. And that's where you are right now. So the 12th house is very important for you to master. And it doesn't matter if you don't have planets in that house. You still have the zodiac sign ruling it. And we are in the age of Aquarius. So start adopting the characteristics of Aquarius. Get comfortable with your weirdness. Get comfortable with nonconformity. You don't like labels. You don't like trends. You don't want to be a follower. Good for you. That's the way it should be. You have all of these great ideas. You're innovative. You can think of them, but then that Pisces rising always talks you out of it. And this isn't the time to play small. So take your power back because once and for all, we need your Piscean energy. You're an asset to this world. You have compassion. You have gifts beyond your capacity to even know that what your gifts are. You are a huge light in the world. So it's time to own that. All right, so now we've just ended through the whole. We are at the end of House of Worth. I loved doing this series. I hope you got what you needed out of it. As always, we end it with some neuroplasticity exercise that you can do. And I think that the most important thing that you can do is to work with your shadows and journal. Really ask yourself the questions. What are you hiding? What paradigm are you living by? What scars, what trauma, what wounds? Are you telling yourself that you're not good enough and you're not becoming the main character? Because after the 12th house is the first house, it's the main character energy. So, where are you telling yourself you're not good enough to play the main character because of these secrets that you hold that you don't want anybody to know? What do they say? The truth will set you free. So if there's any shame, anything, you know, don't hide behind it anymore. Share it with somebody that you can trust, or somebody that you really want them to know the truth about you and you're afraid to expose it, because it's going to get exposed anyway. I'm just going to tell you, because we are moving into the light. Anything in the dark has to come forward, and get comfortable with those growing pains. There is nothing wrong with feeling uncomfortable. The discomfort lets you know that you are on path. And then another thing you can do with this neuroplasticity, as you're journaling and you're seeing where your shadows are, and you're really working on integrating those belief systems so you can change the lens in which you view your world and remove the illusion, is take a look at my blog post that I wrote. I talk about the cosmic mother and the growing pains and what we feel, and what are some triggers that we can understand when we're in it, in the liminal space. And like always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, subscribe, share it, leave a comment. It helps the algorithm and it motivates me to want to continue this work. And lastly, I'm going to be starting a series about the changing woman. The woman who has gone from maiden, mother, crone. What to expect when you are in your 40s, 50s, and 60s. What are the signs? The goddess that wants to work with you. What you're actually going through. What is happening. Your Saturn return. Your Chiron return. Those are things that I'm going to be talking about in the next up and coming videos. So I hope you'll stick around and you'll hit that subscribe button, so and the bell if you want to keep on top of when my videos release. Thanks again. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate you. Thank you for the new subscribers, and I'll see you next time.